Hey everyone and welcome. We are Next Level Business Advisors and this is Business Stories of Success. If you want to break through and achieve your own business success by learning from other successful business owners, you're in the right channel. For more of our content, make sure you click subscribe and don't forget the bell icon so you're the first to be notified when new videos are added. Enjoy today's video.
Hello, hello, hello. You're with Marc Adams at Next Level Business Advisors, and we have a treat for you today. We're going to be talking to Warren Tuttle, a real live inventor. At least that's one of the things he does. Hey, Warren, how are you?
I'm great, Mark. I'm great. I'm not a great inventor, but I do help inventors.
All right.
I'm like the baseball player that couldn't quite hit a curveball, but I'm a pretty good general manager.
Yes, okay. I know what you mean. So then you're the guy that makes inventors happy.
That's right. That's right. I connect them with the marketplace. Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's an interesting business. Why don't we start with that? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and your role in the business.
Sure. So I have my own business and Tuttle Innovation and TuttleInnovation.com if people want to go on the website. And basically I wear a couple of different hats. Number one, I run open innovation programs with a couple of large companies, meaning I give companies an opportunity to look outside their walls for new products. And I work very closely with both the division heads and the legal departments and so forth to handle submissions. And inventors are always who want to license their product to a bigger company. I do it for the largest housewares company in the U.S., Lifetime Brands. They're based near us in Garden City, Long Island. I do it. They have about 40,000 products under 45 different brand names. Publicly traded company. You would recognize the name Farberware. They own that brand name.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. And so they're all the gadgets, all the cutlery, they also own Mikasa, Towel Silver, and Tabletop. And it's a wonderful company, great management. And I've been doing that for 15 years. I also do it for a direct response television company. You know, those late night commercials you see, don't order yet, you get another one for free, type of thing.
Yes.
Called Merchant Media. We have a big hit right now called True Touch, which are gloves that you put on and then you can groom your dog with the gloves on.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, True Touch is a pretty cool product. And then for years I did it.
But wait, there's more. Right?
That's right. If you don't pay for a second one, just shipping and handling,
Yes.
We'll send it. And then for many years I ran the open innovation program for a large power tool company called Tektronix Industries, which makes Ryobi, Rigid, and Milwaukee power tools, which of course you see at Home Depot and all. So I look at thousands of products a year. They come in from inventors. And the flip side is, for many years, I was the president of the United Inventors Association, the largest 501c3 nonprofit inventor group in the country. And so I care deeply about inventors, which is, resulted in me writing the book. And basically, I live in their world, and then I liaison them with companies for licensing agreements that profit everybody.
Awesome. Nice. I'm going to do a little bit of bookkeeping, for want of a better phrase, and then I want to talk to you about this whole inventor thing.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Someone wants to reach you, they want to find you. What's the best way to reach you?
Well, the best way is to send me an email to that's two W's, Tuttle, Tuttle at yahoo.com. So www.tuttle@yahoo.com. I have a website, TuttleInnovation.com, which basically lays everything out, makes it really simple. It allows you to submit your product online in a safe format. All my information is there. And then I do have an office number at 203-594-8808. I'm in Connecticut. But the best thing is emails. I'll always get back to you. Maybe not the same day, but within a day or two, I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very nice. I'm funny like that too. If you call me and I get the voicemail, I might get back sooner or later. But if it's an email, it's almost indelibly written in that email chain until I respond and then remove.
Well, Mark, today they can reach you. Everyone can reach everyone in so many ways. I don't know how many times I'll spend all morning, cleaning up 40 emails, return all my calls, get everything, and I'll jump in the car, and then all of a sudden I'll see someone just LinkedIn me. And I'll say, where did that come from? But I'd say the emails and the website are the best way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I was actually, ironically enough, last week, my mother texted me. She said, hey, I sent you a video on WhatsApp. You didn't reply. I'm like, Ma, I don't have WhatsApp anymore. You have WhatsApp?
So what, does she have a boyfriend or something? She needs one of those coded apps, you know?
No, mama. No, mama.
No, 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 no. I'm
She's
just.
sending a video.
I was wondering on who's on WhatsApp, you know?
Yeah, she surprised me with that one.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me ask you a couple more questions. You mentioned it or alluded to it, but I think it's interesting. How long have you been in business?
Well, I have been an entrepreneur in business since college, which was 43 years ago. And I've had an interesting background, which I talk a lot about in the book. But I've been helping inventors since 1997, so just about 25 years. And I started helping an individual inventor. We had a lot of marketplace success. And then it was about 2007 that I branched into more of a platform, with the companies and with the UIA. So about 15 years there.
And I wanted to explore that a little bit, if you don't mind. How did you decide? Because I mean, that is not, taxes, or I want to do advisory services, or I want to be a fireman, I want to help inventors. How did you decide on that specific business?
Well, I wanted to be a fireman. I did. It's very organic, and it's something I talk about a lot in the book. So I started off working for a department store, which I don't know if you're old enough to know, but it's called Abraham and Straus. It was based in
A&S.
Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, A&S. I was a trainee. You just revealed yourself there, Mark.
I've got no secrets. My head tells it all.
Yeah, well, we had stores, as you know, in Jersey, but also Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, Westchester County. And it's a great store. It was a Federated store, and I was a buyer there. And so I classically learned my trade of finding products, working on margins, how to market to customers, growing my own business, within the department. I was in the electrics area and the cookware area and had a background in housewares. And then I left for Connecticut and started my own stores. I had 7 of my own stores called the Complete Kitchen and Good Food Store. And I had a cooking school and all, about 65 employees. So I had this classic background, but my life changed in 1997 when an inventor walked in the store. And I had never spoken to an inventor before. They might as well have been from Mars. And he showed me this product called Misto. I actually have one right here. It's an olive oil sprayer.
Oh, I can't see that. Hold on. Uh-oh.
So when a gentleman walked into my stores with a product called Misto, M-I-S-T-O, which people may be familiar with. It's an olive oil sprayer. It's a metal container with a plastic liner, FDA-approved plastic liner, and you could put oil in it. You pump the cap, had a special nozzle that could handle the viscosity or heaviness of oil, and it sprayed naturally. And why would that be something cool? Well, it's an alternative to PAM. And PAM, about 100 million cans of PAM are sold every year in the food stores, grocery stores. And nothing wrong with PAM, except it's usually a low-grade vegetable oil that's selected for you. It's got preservatives in it. It uses a propane gas to fire it, which is not good around a flame. And then when you're done with it, you throw the can away. And there's enough cans of PAM thrown out every year to circumnavigate the globe. So this inventor had figured it out that if he could do an all-natural way, you could save the environment, choose your own oil, less fat, less filling. The whole thing was brilliant. As soon as I saw it, I freaked out, and I said, I'll take 100 of them right now. And he said, I haven't made any. I'm an inventor. It's just a prototype. So we kind of teamed up. I mean, it was his business, and I helped him. I kept my story, and I took it around to stores. My own store, started selling them at friends around New England. Then I took it into my friends at Bloomingdale's. They bought like 15,000. Then Macy's picked it up. Anyway, we went on to sell 1.2 million Mistos the first year we were in business.
Wow.
It was like the American dream until you've been through it. It's like, I made more money than I'd ever made before, and Tom made enough to retire, and it was great. And so that's what led me back into led me into this world. I eventually sold my stores. I did some of my own products. I did more, and then I sort of put up my shingle, and I did this thing with Lifetime Brands to help others, find their way in the marketplace. So it's a passion of mine, not just, financial success for people, but also, the mission, because there are a lot of, and I talk about this a lot in the book, there's a lot of, companies and individuals that take money from inventors that allegedly will show them the path, but it's a long path, and it's a lot of failure. And so what happens is these marketers make all the money and the inventors don't make anything. So my book is all about trying to get them there without charging them and helping them.
Nice. That is some story. So what I take from that story, Warren, is that I have to invent something and then come find you,
Yes.
and then you just help me make me.
Well, I'm not far away from you, and you can find me. And but here's the thing: I will say to you, I will never tell you you're going to make millions of dollars, because that's sort of like telling a 9-year-old little leaguer that you're going to play for the Yankees.
Yes.
It's you may be a really good 9-year-old baseball player, and maybe the best in your team, but the odds are long, and we need to be realistic. So what we can do is try to show you the way. If you want to play for the Yankees, here's what we would recommend you doing, and here's give it your best shot, but be realistic and reasonable with your expectations.
I love it. Okay, so then maybe I'll just calm down, because I was just going to get a napkin and hope for it. But okay. All right, so let me ask you
Well,
this
if you
question.
make a napkin, if you're going to do the napkin, make sure it's significantly better than the current napkin. That's what I would do.
I'll make sure to think about that.
There's a value add.
Okay, I've got a long way to go. I'll stick with this for now. So let me ask you this question. Our podcast is entitled Stories of Success.
Sure.
Right? And obviously you've seen success secularly and the like. So how do you define success?
Making money. So it's really simple. The rest is a game. It's funny because we do a lot of things helping inventors. We do contests, and sometimes we give out awards for best invention and so forth. And it's wonderful to win those awards. And sometimes people are upset because they didn't win the award for best in show or best in contest. And I always say to them, folks, it's not about who wins the best in contest award. It's about who makes the most money. Okay. And if you're going to put the time, and my book is all about profit, and it's all about, and not in a mean way, and not in a capitalist way, and not in a socially bad way. I just mean, if you're going to put your time, effort, and money into it, then you have reasonable expectation to make money out of it. And if you don't, then you're being foolish to yourself and to those around you. And this is where inventors get taken advantage of. A lot of times they just sort of dabble in the invention world as a game or a side thing. And what happens is they spend lots of money, on how-to advice. And what happens is the how-to advisors make all the money and they make nothing. So we define your question is a simple and easy one to answer. There's only so many times that you can spend a lot of money on a product and not make it before you're failing and putting your house and your family at risk. And we want to make sure that you have your head about you and that you do things in a profitable way.
Okay, so that's defining success for your clients. But what about for you? How do you define success?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think I've been asked that, so I'm going to really think as I'm answering you. I'll tell you what. I'm at the age now where I've had a lot of successes. I've been behind multiple products that have been the top selling products in housewares history. I get paid now by companies that I run these platforms for rather than inventors. Believe it or not, my kids are grown. They're through college, and my number one mission in life is not necessarily based on money right now. I don't necessarily have to continue doing this, although I love it doing it. So for me, success is defined in expanding the open innovation platform that I do with companies to show the light to other companies that I don't think are doing it the right way. Like Marc, I don't have enough clout or money to change the world all by myself. But if I can get into these companies and change them, like I did for Lifetime Brands, and get them to look at innovation and inventors differently, then I consider that successful. With inventors, if I even stop you from blowing your money and get you focused and make you more aware, then I'll feel very, very good about that mission, because you will avoid some of the big mistakes that I make and I talk about in my book. So now, don't get me wrong. I do, earn money from the companies that pay me. And I do earn some money on success, on the success end of things, which has nothing to do with the inventors' royalties and so forth. But I'd say my bigger mission is more teaching and education at this point.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, and that's kind of interesting, because when we speak to business owners about success, and we all kind of revel in the success of our clients, right? So when we measure success for my clients, I do the same. I do advisory work, right? I think my client success is when they're making the money they're supposed to make, when they're able to remove the shackles of these time barriers they're working longer than when they had a 9 to 5, and they're making less money, per hour, and
Right.
we are able to make those adjustments. That's their success. But my success is not necessarily on the money part. My success is reveling in their success. So it's an interesting thing when you think about it, right? You said success for your inventors is making money. But success for you is educating them.
Yes.
On that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, we're very much the same. We're very similar in terms of what we're doing in our mindset. And you're exactly right. When you move beyond being jealous of other people's success, and you feel a part of it, and that you were there, and that you can say, like, for instance, Josh Malone invented a bunch of balloons. He's gone on to sell more balloons than any other summer toy in history. And I met Josh, many years ago in the beginning, and I tried to help him, and he had another route to market. And I said to him, that's great. You're working with a great company. Let's stay in touch. We've stayed in touch. And that's a great example of someone who I didn't profit from per se, but I profited from the friendship and all that he's gone on to do it. And to me, Mark, it's probably the same with you. It's credibility. It's having credibility with people that you've helped them, they help you, in that community that you build, in a trustful community, which in our arena is hard to do because there's just so many people out there selling their services and who don't have credibility, or it's built on a false platform. So I revel in that, I have to say. And that's really my motivation for writing the book.
Right. So let me ask you this question, because you found success, you've helped others be successful. Give us just one or two keys that makes you successful in your business or with your business.
Well, someone asked me this earlier today and on a separate conversation, and I had to think for a second. So I already have the answer in my tip. They said, what was the best advice you were ever given? And believe it or not, Sidney Poitier was the speaker in my high school graduation because his daughter was in my class, of all things. Wow. And Sidney Poitier, who's one of the great actors in history, screen actors, said, pounded, I can still hear his voice saying education and hard work. And the way he said education, it wasn't like education, it was education, very articulate, and hard work. And so I'm going to say that it starts with hard work. And there are other books out there that make inventing seem, simple, or you have ideas. And I don't subscribe to any of that. I'm a hard work. You got to do things the right way. If you want to be a football player, you got to learn how to block and tackle. I know I have a lot of sports analogies, but you got to learn how to block and tackle. You got to put in the time and effort. You want to be a great musician, you got to play the guitar in your room for 6 hours a day. Whatever it is, you must learn the basics of it. So it's all about hard work, which if you love what you do becomes, second nature because you just love doing it. And it's about continually learning, expanding your mind, being open to new ideas. And I would say that those are the two things. And in my career, I've always been a worker. I had a paper route as a kid. I shoveled driveways when I was in high school. I had a window washing business in college, and I bussed tables and washed dishes. And I just, started working the day after I graduated from college. I work like you do on weekends. I mean, it's part of what I do and I love, and I believe you got to be dedicated and you got to be really open. Your brain's got to be open. So if someone comes with a new idea, or it's a new person, or maybe they're different from you, that you don't just close down to it. You say, wow, might be an interesting way to look at things. At the same time, you got to have your standards, and you can't fall for nonsense in games, but you got to be open to new stuff. So I would say that those are the things.
I like those two things. And especially nowadays, there's so many, especially with social media, people saying, oh, you don't have to know the skill to be successful in the business. And that's what the pitch is, right? And people are like, okay, well, here's my 997 to follow your little thing. And then I'm going to be, and when it doesn't work, it's like, there's this piece that's missing: education, hard work.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. And so it's like, weight loss programs, or flipping properties, or, and you get these gurus. And in some reason, inventors, their mindset is they tend to cling credibility wise to people or names that they think are big in the industry. And you'd be shocked at the platforms behind these, and in some cases, how disingenuous they are. And at the end of the day, the only people who are making money are them, big money. Yeah. And they've coached, hundreds of thousands of people and never had any success. So I say, I'm not guaranteeing success, But what I will guarantee is don't blow your money,
Nice.
because that's three-dimensional. Now, when you fail, it's one-dimensional. When you fail and have debt, it's
Ooh,
three-dimensional,
ooh, yeah.
and that's what you need to be
A
careful of.
three-dimensional sinkhole, which is scary.
Yes,
Yeah, but I agree with you completely there. Um, Let me ask you this. I'm going to pivot a little bit
sure.
because we've talked a lot about success, but every business owner that I've met, every person who has a great deal of success has had some failures or some mistakes that they've made on the journey. What's one big mistake that you care to share with us on your business?
Well, let me tell you, I will share it with you. And I have a book, I have a chapter in the book called SIAM, SIAM. It's an acronym for me, Mark, that I've used most of my life. I developed in my 20s from failure that I had back then. I've had 9 of my own businesses, and 2 of them have been failures. SIAM stands for, S stands for stop, I for identify, A for address, and M for move on. And the code is that no matter how overwhelming your problems get, if you stop, just don't keep running along, like the hamster in the wheel, never stop and take, identify what the problem is here. A lot of times people don't do that and realize how far in you are because we're locked in. And then once you've come to a real proper identification, which is not necessarily easy, I talk a little bit how to identify that, but then you must address it, come up with a plan to address. And then once you've addressed it fully, then you got to let it go and move on, get back in the lane and get going again. Do not, get back up on that horse. So I had a product in the middle of all my successes called Stir Chef. I designed it and I worked with an engineer. It was a saucepan stirring device. It folded up. It was brilliant. It was totally brilliant, Mark. It was beyond brilliant. It folded up into the size of a coffee cup. It had drop-down arms, spring-loaded arms that fit on the side of a pan, like a saucepan. It had a drop-down paddle that had living hinges in the corner to get into the edges. And it had a battery, 4 AA batteries and a motor that could stir cement for like 6 hours, very powerful. And it stirred anything, soups, pastas, polenta, anything like that, risotto. The thing was brilliant. And the most I do from my cooking school in my stores that the most common command in cooking was to stir, right? So I called it Stir Chef. I had a really nice upscale product at $29.95 that I put in a gold box. It looks just like the book behind me. They call it beautiful box, sold it to Bed Bath, Williams-Sonoma and all. And then the same product, I put it in a red box and called it Easy Stir. Sold it for the same $12 to Walmart. And they were like putting it out at $20. And so everybody was happy. The problem was it didn't sell. Didn't do enough consumer research. I got out in front of the product. We were at the 2005 Houseware Show, National Houseware Show, and the Today Show called us the #1 new item in America. We were on Good Morning America. We were on all these shows. And I started to believe in my own press. We took 110,000 pieces of orders during the show. I thought I was going to be rich. And we made up 250,000 pieces and they bombed and nobody paid for them. And I spent 2 years of my life, 2 years, cleaning out the warehouse, getting rid of all the stock, selling it, lost a ton of money, and learned just extremely valuable lessons. I put my family at risk. I put everybody at risk. And I was fortunate to come out of that. My next big product was Smart Spin, which is a huge hit, and it pulled me out. But I learned I was fortunate. And I learned that my biggest lesson there was I got way out in front of the product because I fell in love with it and nobody else did.
Wow. Okay. And so in order to avoid that, you have now come up with the acronym SIAM, stop, identify, address, and move on. Is that right?
Yeah. And I use it for other things. Whenever I feel anxious or I feel like things aren't right, I try to slow down and I use it. Of course, I'm a little older now. When you're younger, you try to spin out of control sometimes. So I'm a little calmer than I used to be, but you know the drill. And it's, but I have a whole chapter on it. Originally, HarperCollins, which by the way is the second biggest book company in the world, they're my publisher. Put a shameless plug in for them, but they originally asked me to take it out because I got a little too personal about it. So I pulled out some of the personal stuff and just try to make it appropriate and how inventors or people in business look. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to take risk, and if you take risk, you subject yourself to failure. And if it happens, you got to get back up. And if you don't, then that's another way to define success. Can you get back up on your feet, after a loss?
Right. Are you down for the 10 count?
That's right. You need the smelling salts.
So I like that. I'm going to steal that one there, SIAM. So I'm going to call you the King of SIAM.
Yeah.
Okay. King of
Well, not to be
SIAM.
confused with King Tut, which is also my nickname, but
Okay. Wow. You got a lot of royalty in your blood there.
yeah, I like to
All right.
say we're connected, but I don't think so.
It'd be nice, right? So we talked a little bit about some of the things that you consider important in order to be successful. What do you think is the single biggest quality that a business owner or an inventor, but a business owner needs to be successful?
Well, I'm going to answer that in an unusual way because someone asked me once, what is it that you need to go into your own business? And by the way, I think that's the best path to success is going into your own business. If you work for others, you may do well. And maybe if you are one of the few that rise to the top of the company, you can do really well. But for most of us, it's really going into your own business and taking risk. And my answer was, when do you know it's time to go in your own business? When you can wake up in the morning without an alarm clock.
Oh.
And what I mean by that is that you live the life. You know, you're there. You know, you don't need a reminder. You don't need your mom telling you anymore, you know, to put your galoshes on. You don't need an alarm clock to get you up in the morning. You don't need a boss telling you what to do. You are in the moment and feeling it, and you know, and you're living, and you're pushing the business, and because it's inside of you, and the business becomes a reflection of who you are. And when that happens, and if you don't have that, I don't know if I should call it drive or that passion or that inner feeling, then maybe being in business for yourself is not for you. Maybe you need someone to kick you in the butt. But it's been a long time since I've needed to be kicked in the butt, and I would say that's probably my best quality.
Okay, yeah, and a drive that is critical for business success. You're right. I mean, I think that's.
And then you have to train yourself to be someone with that drive that doesn't hoist it on other people around you and drive them completely batty.
That's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
I call it pumping the brakes. Sometimes I have to pump the brakes because I want to go 90 miles an hour, and everybody else in the firm wants to go about 75 because they saw the speed limit say 65, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe I need to pump my brakes a little bit.
That's right. I like that. Pump that 90 miles an hour, girls. The speed I drive, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
So, really interesting. But I like also what you said. Most of us, you said, will find success if we are on our own, but not many of us want to do it. I mean,
well, that's the thing.
Why people are not entrepreneurial.
Yeah, you got to feel it. You got to want it. You know, I've always wanted it. I did my own businesses growing up, and I always felt free. Now it's not easier. It's harder in some ways, but it's a lot more satisfying. And you do have much more. I mean, I know during COVID, everybody's working from home, but that's been my life for many years now. You learn different skills, right? I mean, I'm sure you've done it too. You learn how to think on your feet. You know, do your business from the car on the way to the supermarket. You know, right. you're on 24/7, so you have to learn how to temper that. But having said that, it becomes a quality of life and a lifestyle issue that I think that's kind of what I'm mostly driving across, is that it becomes you know.
Absolutely. I love the fact, one thing that I love about owning my own business, and I tell business owners this all the time, is you determine what you're going to be or what your business is going to be. I don't work out of my home. I work in an office. Specifically because I want to.
Yeah. Well, that's
I want my home to be sacrosanct. I want to go there, shut off, watch TV. And so for several years, although I'm very techie, well, not as much as me, I didn't even have a computer in the house for several years. So if a client should somehow find me, and I can't help you. I don't have anything here. My office hours are.
See, it's a reflection of your life, of you, yeah. And you know what? Your business is also, you know, I'm not sure if we're same age or not or similar, but when I was like in college, business was bad. You know, when I was a kid, businesses are bad. You know, they do bad things and they're evil and blah blah blah. Well, I've learned that in your own business, you can do good things. You know, your business can be a reflection of whatever you want it to be. If you want an aspect of your business to be about social justice and doing the right thing and giving back, you can do that. I always think your business should be transparent and tell a lot about who you are. So these are all things I think you would agree with, and I think they all make it special. You know, you're not being told what you're doing. You're not going in and sitting somewhere. You're doing it because it's your life. You know.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this question: how have mentors or coaches contributed to your success?
Well, that's a great question. So I dedicate my book, besides to my wife, to my number one mentor in my life, my first boss, real boss at Abraham and Strauss, who passed away a couple of years ago. I call him the Bobby Knight of retailing, and he was a very tough boss and was really hard on me. And in the beginning, I didn't like it, and it was kind of what I needed to, you know. And he helped mold me into what I was. And A&S, this is back in the 70s. People yelled and screamed, you know, it wasn't the same in the work environment as today. So it was a tough couple of years, but I now today truly appreciate that, you know, and as a coach and a mentor to me, he ended up going on to do great things. And he just got me on the right track. And I think that's so important for young people, is to get the right mentor, the right boss, the right coach. We call them at A&S rabbis, you know, and it was, he was my rabbi and all that. I've tried to be that to other people, you know, myself going on. And I think that everybody needs that. That shouldn't be confused, by the way, with coaches in the inventor world who may or not know what they're talking about and are charging you. I'm talking about mentors who do things out of love and respect and do it, you know, for free. And, because you know, it's like, are you a Knicks fan? I know I'm a sports guy, but are you a Knicks fan at all?
Unfortunately.
I know. Well, unfortunately, it's getting better. But I read last night where the new guard quickly, he's learning from Rose, and Rose is now his mentor, and they brought Rose on the team. And see, that's what it's all about. It's all about, you know, teaching the next person, and that's what I feel like. I think maybe that answers your question about you can gain great things from people with experience and wisdom. And then at the same time, we want to pass things on to younger people. And I'm all for younger people and all that they're about, and the beauty of what they're trying to do and change the world and say, well, but don't forget about these key things, you know, you guys, as you go forward.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. So I'm going to ask you one final question. So we've been talking about your business, Tuttle innovations. We've been talking about your ownership, but you've been alluding a lot to your book. So
yeah.
You know, what I'd like to do, which is not what we normally do, but just tell us a little bit about your book. I see the title behind you.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So tell us a little bit about it, and let's plug that, baby.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. It comes out March 23rd. So in a couple of weeks. It's pre-order on Amazon. I also have a website called inventorconfidential.com. And it's meant to be the story behind the scenes of things that I've learned over the last 20 years that the marketers are not telling you about. And so it's a unique book, sort of its one of a kind in a lot of ways. I spend the first half of the book, Mark, talking about product development. I mean, real product development, not just ideas and flinging them against the wall. You know, all the things that are necessary, patents, prototypes. I talk about the value of trade shows. I talk about pitch panels and doing things the right old-fashioned way. There's a lot we can learn from those old inventors, you know, the classic inventors. Not that there's not new ways of doing things, but really becoming great at your trade, you know. We just talked about the point guard on the Knicks. He wants to be great. He's going to have to work at it. And we need That's you right. to work at it and learn the disciplines so that you can be great someday. So I talk a lot about that. The second half of the book, I talk about people who take advantage of inventors. I talk about what's going on in Washington, D.C. these days with innovation. Some of the big tech companies have been trying to water down the patent system. They're powerful enough. Some of them are bigger than third world countries, you know, by themselves. And they have a lot of clout. I talk a lot about trade shows. I talk about crowdfunding like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I talk about organic innovation. And then at the end, if you don't mind, I give everybody a list to do. I tell the Supreme Court what they can do to make innovation better. I tell the Patent Office, companies, businesses, and everybody else, if we really want America to be the most innovative country on the planet. And by the way, I also go in, I also serve on several other nonprofits, including the National Council for the Empowerment of American Innovation, where we also have to make sure the innovation ecosystem is completely inclusive of people who may traditionally have not had access, that being, you know, minorities, women, military, people, rural folks, you know, who haven't been tapped in. We need to get education, STEM education, and engineering skills and so forth. So it's got a lot of specifics in about how you as an individual can do better. And then it has a lot of more broadband information about how we can make America more, how we can run on all cylinders in America to make us more innovative.
Awesome. So that book is going to be coming out which date again?
March 23rd, so about 5 or 6 weeks away. I've been waiting. It's HarperCollins. It's my publisher, who's been absolutely wonderful. And it's available on Amazon for pre-order.
Beautiful. Well, Warren, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. I really appreciated that, what is it, acronym, SIAM?
SIAM.
King of SIAM. When you look for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to say the King of SIAM. Don't be confused. That's one. Hey, appreciate it. Looking forward to your continued journey.
Thank you.
Towards success.
Mark, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to come on, and nice to see you in depth here. Thank you.